Should we discuss this first before we get into Revolution? Because I told you this, yesterday? You hadn't heard this, but I've just got to bring this up. The sale price of Ring of Honor to Tony Khan that people are quoting on the internet. Can we bring this up now? It's your show.
You could feel free to bring this up. I didn't realize you were the person who enlightened me to the chatter about this, so let's hear about it.
There are people, and again, this is not even a knock on AEW. I'm not trying to blister Tony Khan. I'm not trying to piss at anybody's post-toasties. I'm just saying as a flat-out statement that there are people on the internet that are saying with a straight face that Tony Khan paid Sinclair Broadcasting $40 million for Ring of Honor. And I don't know how to respond to something like that. Can you? And again, we know that Tony will overpay a wrestler. He's done it numerous times. And we know that Tony has all this money. We know if Tony wants something, he get. But no, just no. Where are people's fucking minds? And more, they know more about how the wrestling business operates now than ever before, but they still can work themselves into a frenzy like that. No. And need I remind you that the last time that a major broadcasting conglomerate had a moribund wrestling promotion for sale in WCW, Vince McMahon got the whole entire WCW and NWA library that still existed and the intellectual properties and et cetera of $2 million of WCW. And yes, that was 20 years ago, and now they're streaming and all this stuff. I know 10 years ago what Sinclair Broadcasting paid for Ring of Honor to begin with. And I know that they have added to their video library since then. And I also know that they've bought some production equipment. And I also still know that all that stacked on top of each other together times 4 would not equal $40 million. But something like this starts going around the internet and people pick up on it and start repeating it without stopping to analyze just for a moment what the fuck you've just said. So, and that's without any wrestlers or wrestler contracts. That's just production equipment and the video library. Brian, does that sound like a good deal to you?
No. Maybe he also got the rights to carry Sex Dungeon in Puerto Rico.
Oh, come on. Everybody knows he sold that after the fucking hurricane. But no, seriously, and I'm glad that he bought it instead of Vince McMahon because he'll do something with the footage rather than
his heart's in the right place.
His heart's in the right place. And I'm trying to protect his public image here. No, Tony Khan is not a fucking raving lunatic that spent $40 million for a video library. He's not. Come on, people. Don't talk about him like that. He's not that bad.
And by the way, the other thing you have to think about is WWE wouldn't pay that much money for that catalog right now. And that's the other bidder. So why would he bid? What are they going to bid? Okay, I'm going to quadruple that and then times that by 10. Like, why would he do that?
If anybody thinks that it was in the double digit, if WWE even did make an offer for the library and the production equipment and whatever the fuck else was left, as they said, there were talks. It was probably barely in the millions, much less tens of millions, if it was there at all. Because they didn't really give a shit, probably.
Could you have imagined 1 year into your Ring of Honor run if someone had said one day someone's going to purchase this company and the production equipment?
I would have been happy if we could have purchased the production equipment. Instead of renting it from fucking Smart Ass Video or whatever the fuck, wherever they were getting that stuff. But anyway, no, folks, come on. Let's just calm down and listen to a little reason here. And no, that was not. So again, and then the other announcement that Tony made while we're talking about it. Guess who, Brian? Guess who? Wouldn't you know who won the pony? Who's going to be the booker of Ring of Honor? Tony Khan. And then he told Joe Koff he can pop the popcorn too. So now he's going to book Dynamite, and he's going to book Rampage, and he's going to book the pay-per-views, and he's going to book the quarterly specials on TNT, and now he's going to book what is allegedly supposed to be run as a completely different wrestling promotion with crossover talents on occasion. I mean, you know, it's amazing. He's going to cure cancer, I guess, next week, right? That's scheduled. And then he'll bring peace to Russia and Ukraine. What? And
who are you to doubt Booker of the Year? 2-time Booker of the Year.
Oh, well, okay, again, even if you think that somebody's the best in the world at what they do, can they do it everywhere all at the same time? Isn't there a limit to someone's energy and capacity to do all those things all at the same time? And I saw somebody on the internet. So, well, they're just also, me and you know, when we kind of raised an eye at this, well, they're just shitting all over it. They're jealous, blah, blah, blah. They've saved countless jobs. Tony Khan saved countless jobs. How many jobs did he save? They already fired all the wrestlers. They had no wrestlers under contract. In the office, I guarantee you, as I mentioned, I know that some people who have been there for quite some time found out about the sale when they watched on TV Tony Khan talk about it. But when you subtract the people in the office or production of Ring of Honor that are just going to be reassimilated back into Sinclair Broadcasting somewhere else, I'm sure Greg, the office boy, I'm sure will be just fine, because they'll just go back to whatever occupation they had in Sinclair. There's going to be probably less than 10 people actually out of a job, and those are the people, most of them, that Tony Khan ought to be looking at bringing in to work in his company, because they're the ones that have been there that have fucking done almost everything in that company for the past however long, 10 years, whatever.
But it tells you something about what he thinks of everyone when everyone finds out about the announcement by watching it on TV.
Well, actually, no, that's Sinclair's lack of giving a shit, because as we found out, they're a bunch of fucking Republican crackpots. No, that should have been their job to tell the people that needed to know, that had been there and been loyal, what was going on, but they couldn't be bothered to do that because they wanted, and that's another thing. You think they're haggling with Tony over the price when they saw a chance to get rid of this thing? Because obviously it hurt Ring of Honor, the pandemic, more than any other wrestling promotion, because they were owned by a giant conglomerate company, $1 billion+ company that had wrestling was neither their primary occupation, nor did they have an inordinate love for it like Tony does. It had been a business deal and programming for them, and then they weren't about to not undergo all of the COVID regulations and blah, blah, blah because of liability issues. We went through, they couldn't open a wrestling school or have training camps for the first couple of years. They were scared they'd get sued. So they did all that and they spent all the money. And then they ended up in the hole and you know, finally they made the decision, well, we're not going to do this anymore, at least in this form. And then they see a chance to get out of it. And that's why I say that can happen with you. It's happened. That's why that Tony Khan should be careful about people on his TV show with pizza cutters and all that other shit that they just think because it's wrestling and they're used to indie wrestling and their sensibilities are different. One stupid thing can cause the television broadcasting conglomerate to say, we don't want this shit on our air. Or we don't want the liability, or we don't want the perception, or we don't want the whatever. All it takes is somebody intricately involved in either the broadcasting or the delivery or whatever of your program to say, nah, this ain't right. We don't want to do this. And you're fucked, regardless of how much the fans like it. Whether it was a single TV station taken off a program in the territory days, you lost the town, or TBS 20 years ago with WCW, or Sinclair with Ring of Honor. We just don't want to do this anymore. This ain't our main fucking occupation. And there you go.
Do you think Sinclair is the kind of company that would demand a sale, or would they do a sale instead of a standard sale where it's kind of like the old WWE deal where instead of cash, we'll just buy a lot of advertising from you?
Well, there was, and I don't remember every single detail, and I'm probably not going to reveal who it was to begin with. Let's just say there was somebody that someone in Sinclair Broadcasting, not in Ring of Honor, but in Sinclair Broadcasting, told 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, before the pandemic, well, we would sell Ring of Honor to you for such and such amount of money, and if you promise to buy the TV time slots for a 12-month or 24-month period or whatever, well, of course they would. That would be millions of dollars. And it didn't happen. But it was offered, not from Ring of Honor, but from somebody in Sinclair, to another person who was not a major player, but a player in the wrestling business. Now, when you add up the fact that, and I know everybody, all these fucking goofs on Twitter and everything, oh, nobody watches TV anymore. Yeah, fucking right. Idiots. It's still television, and it's still thousands of dollars per hour in every market, unless you're in Scranton at 3 a.m. on Sunday, and then you can probably get it for $6.95 or whatever. So just if you tallied up the cost of an infomercial, taking the place of all of the Ring of Honor programs on all 70-something stations that they were on, and some of them, I know a lot of people say, well, they were on at midnight on such and such. Well, they were also on at good times, bad times, and indifferent times. So if you take them all, 70-something TV stations, an hour a week, some had double runs, and just times what it would cost to buy an infomercial in that spot on all of those stations, you're looking at $4 or $5 million a year. Easily. So that, if somebody was going to do that, then I'm sure they would sell those time slots, but I don't think that's happening.
One last question. Personal feelings aside for a moment.
Yes.
But you talked about Delirious in the past. His future's now up in the air, but he has obviously backstage experience, a booker, trainer. There are some other people behind the scenes you could talk about with Ring of Honor. Do you think Tony finds a job for Gary Juster? Or is this the end of Gary Juster's run in professional wrestling?
Well, that has come up several times, the end of his run in wrestling, and he's popped right back up like fungus on a shower curtain. No, the thing is, they don't seem to have a problem booking their buildings, which is what Gary was primarily doing, was booking the buildings for the Ring of Honor events and setting those up. And, and also Gary's older than me. Maybe he feels like it's time to retire and just go to the Starbucks near his house rather than trying to find every Starbucks in the United States of America. But I don't know.